A friend of mine told me the other day that I am afraid to be loved. And of course, in my head, in my very busy head, I had a bit of a hissy fit about this because I thought, who, me? Me? And I immediately said, but I wake up every day feeling completely and utterly loved. I go to sleep every day feeling completely and utterly loved. I am loved by the best of them. Spirit is unconditionally loving. The universe is unconditionally loving. I have had a master energy walk by my side and teach me how to love. This is what God dogs do. They teach you how to love. So I, of all people on the planet, know how to love and presumably be loved. And then I had to think about it, and I very sheepishly admitted that I don't believe in love the way most human beings believe in it. I don't have this romanticized ideal about it. I don't actually believe that human beings know how to love. And I remember writing a newsletter once about how mothers always claim to be so unconditionally loving of their children. And I was saying, but that's hogwash. That's a lie. You spend a lot of your time telling your children all the things they do wrong and punishing them for it. So how unconditionally loving is that? And then another friend said to me today, like Paddy used to remind me often, that love itself is this crazy thing. It's a feeling, it's an emotion, it's even our fears expressed, it's all of these things. And when it comes to light workers, and she meant us, light workers think they have the corner on love, that's their block and they own it. And because they're so connected to spirit, they don't actually need to know more about the human kind of love. And yet, a huge part of being a healer is about the human kind of love. Stop that. Yes. And in the midst of this conversation, I thought, oh my God, Navi, you have spent a lot of your time hiding. When Paddy started getting sick, it was so much easier to hide from love, to manage it all. And so I might see other people hiding in their lives, hiding from the possibility of getting hurt, hiding from the possibility of being vulnerable or being rejected. But I've spent my entire spiritual life practicing how to be vulnerable and practicing how to be present and practicing love. After all this practicing, you would think I had gotten it right. And to some extent, I have. And then there is another part of me that knows that the next step of love is allowing that no matter how good you are at loving, at being the active lover or the one who loves, which is effectively the one who is in charge, the one who is deciding, the one who is choosing, the one who is rescuing or being needed or pressing all of the right buttons. There is the passive side of that, the not so active side of that requires that one must just allow oneself to be loved, to accept, to receive. And I am very good at teaching all of that too. And I am very willing to receive, preferably if the universe is the giver. And if it is the universe, then I know it comes from an unconditionally loving space. But if it is humanity, then humanity is like a bit much, Humanity takes practice, and humanity takes work, and humanity takes, oh my God, the absence of judgment and the absence of fear and the challenge of living that every day. So yes, it is much easier to love and be loved by spirit, and it is much easier to love and be loved by dogs, and it is much easier to love and be loved by all of the human beings who do not have ego, all of the souls who do not have ego and who do not have history and do not have past and do not have all of their own dramas to disturb your peace. But I think one of the most valuable things that Paddy said often, and even when she was dying, is that you have to let people love you as they love you, Granny. You know, that people have to love you on their terms. And that the way they love you is their action, is their way of being. And it doesn't matter whether it matches the way you love them or not. It's just a different language. And it doesn't matter if it meets all of your needs, because love is not intended to meet your needs. It's intended to give you a space in which you can just be yourself and answer your own needs. And she also used to say, you know, Granny, you just have to forgive people for being people. You know, people choose to be people. Otherwise, there'd be souls and they wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be having so much fun. So you have to forgive them for being human. You have to forgive them for being less in some way, and then forgive yourself for making the judgment that they are less in some way. So this afternoon I had a whole other conversation. My God, I do a lot of talking. And in the midst of this, I heard myself saying, but everyone is born free to love. That's our natural state of being. I, the soul, is born from love, and I am born free to love. And when I experience pain or rejection or abandonment or judgment in others, then I start to learn that there is a price to be paid for loving. And of course, any form of criticism that goes with that says there is a price to be paid for being loved. And we've talked about this. We've talked about how other people's expectations, other people's beliefs, other people's desires and needs, other people then determine to what extent we are willing to love, or even, in some really sad cases, able to love. And yet, we are born free. Who is it that said we are born free and are everywhere in chains? Jean-Paul Sartre? No? The other one?
Voltaire.
Voltaire. No, it wasn't Voltaire.
It was one of those.
Man is born free but is everywhere in chains. And those chains are actually of our own thinking and our willingness to be trapped, bound by the past.
Jean-Jacques Rousseau.
Can we not go there now?
That's gonna bug me now.
We're going to have this whole conversation right now. Can we finish it before we move into meditation? Sartre, I'm telling you. Go with that one.
No idea.
Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions is another one. I think, therefore I am, a whole other one. So I've always changed that one to say, I am, therefore I think. So I am born free and I remain free is the way I'm changing this one, because really that's a choice. We can choose to be bound in chains everywhere, the chains of the past and the change of the fears and the changes and the unknowns and all of those things. All of those things can bind us and tie us down, or we can set ourselves free back into our natural states of freedom. In this country, it takes on a whole other thought process for me, because as a democracy, we keep claiming our rights and our freedoms and our responsibilities. And yet, the choice to live those, to be those, moves beyond just how we think of ourselves and how we think of our societies. It's there in our everyday lives, in how we choose to manage ourselves, how we choose to manage the people we interact with. And when I listen to everything that's going on and I see everything that's going on, I see how easy it is to justify the chains, how easy it is to justify the doing less and the being less and the choosing less. when in fact we are free, essentially free, to choose to be better human beings all the time. And I feel, more so than I think, I feel love is the most difficult of all things for human beings because it is the most mysterious, the most enigmatic, the most demanding, the most uplifting, because it is the most everything. And it takes us to extremes in our world. It challenges us at every turn, in every possible relationship, in every possible role, in every sacred contract, in every interaction. So the big love, the big universal, way out there, oceans deep and fathoms high, reaching the heavens kind of love, is easy. It's so easy. But the daily love, oh dear. Walks in the park, Granny, and treats, and chasing monkeys and belly rubs. Only one poo a day, Granny. Just cuddles and scratching my ears. This is daily love. And it's the daily love, it's the everyday love, it's the little things. Love is in the details. It's the little things that make us more inside out. It's those little things that bring us closer to God and closer to grace and closer to our truest selves, to our natural state of being. It's a wet nose in your face at 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's letting go when you have to. It's holding on when you can and letting go when you have to. And we don't even call those things love. We call those things our daily lives. We take them for granted and we do them all the time. We feed people and clean up after them. We open doors and windows and we wash dishes and we drive long distances and we make phone calls and we send texts and we send pictures and we do all of these little things that connect us to each other. And we don't realize or remember that this is the action of love. That the thought from which we send it is the action of love. And that love requires action. It requires action and expression, but it's easy to talk love. It's not so easy to act it. Dogs wag their tails when you arrive and you know you are loved. Happy barks and welcoming energy and just the whole demeanor, the whole body is an action of love. And us human beings are so well trained to hold that inside of ourselves. And then when we meet it in others, when we see it in others who are willing to express it and be it and let it shine through them, then we are suspicious and doubtful. Oh, Petty Pumpkin. The big love, the I love God and I love my universal family and I even love myself is easy. Where is the challenge in that? It's the deeper daily love that is so much hard work. accepting that people are imperfect and that they're going to hurt you and loving them anyway, that's hard work. Loving them and they might leave you anyway, that's hard work. Loving them and they might not like you so much, that's hard work. Loving them and they're discovering that you're actually awful underneath it all, that's hard work. But that's the work. That's the work of being human. Fish don't stop swimming because the ocean is deeper. If anything, they swim harder. They don't stop wiggling because they're on a hook. If anything, they wiggle harder. So what have you got to lose? If you just start being who you are, inside out, from your natural state, from your highest possible self, and from the tiny details of your daily life, to just love. If the biggest outcome every lifetime has is that you loved, it is enough. More importantly, if the biggest outcome you have is that you were loved, it is enough. I'm always so grateful, so very grateful to know how loved I am. I take great joy in knowing that I can shut my house down and move countries and come back at any moment in time and claim one of 20 homes in South Africa as my own, not because they're large houses with plenty of bedrooms, but because the people who live in those homes love me. That is the greatest joy. So one of the things about love is that it sets you free. It sets you free in ways that inside out are actually indescribable, enigmatic, mysterious again. And when we do let it set us free, we become all of those things we didn't know was possible, that we remained elusive for so long. So yes, when we love people, they may do a whole range of things, including die. But that is their own promise and fulfillment of that promise for themselves. And we must love them anyway. We must give them treats anyway. You know, we must bring their food bowls to them wherever they are anyway. And we must wake up in the middle of the night because they're sore or fussy or having a nightmare and cuddle them anyway. Because that's what love does. A few months ago, I channeled this whole meditation with Sai Baba, or Shirdi Baba, in which he was talking about compassion and trust. And before that, we talked with Oshu about being strangers. And one of the threads that comes through from all of this channeling and meditating that we've done is that there's no one way, there's no one expression, there's no one frequency, there's no one form of love. There's no right love or wrong love. There's no in love or out of love. That love just is. And however it is, where it is, the challenge is to interact with it as it is, to not try to fit it into something else, to break down any of the walls you might have placed around it, to take away any of the barriers you might be putting on it, so that it can be set free. So I think that's part of my learning this week, that I actually have to love enough to set love free in order to set myself free. So I'm delighted. Delighted or uplighted? Uplighted. I'm uplighted. Thank you. It gets funnier by the minute. Yeah, can I just be delighted? Thank you. Okay. Spirit says we have very strange language, because when you de something, it's like you've removed it. You know, you de-light it, then you take away the light. So I must say I'm uplighted, you know, like uplifted. Okay, I'm enlightened. Thank you. Enlightened. Okay, let's go with that one. I am delighted. You know what I mean. Oh dear God. You see, even with spirit you must get into big arguments. I am delighted. I am. Yes, I am. Thank you. Okay, let's just go with I am. This is not working. So many arguments. Okay, let's just meditate then. I am delighted. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is that I am that. See, even in channeling you wind up with the big argument. When it comes to love, it's like you don't have to qualify the I am. You don't even have to say I am love, because when you say I am, or you acknowledge I am, then that immediately puts you into oneness with everything. That is love. The answer to every question is what? What is homework?
Love.
Yeah. You see? So why would you need all of these other statements when the answer is always love? If you want to turn tail and run, the answer is love. If you want to get under your duvet and hide, the answer is love. If you want to lock all of the doors and the windows and make sure Charmaine can't find you, the answer is love. Dear God, did we just say that as well? We did. Okay. If something's going to die and you have to let it go, the answer is love. If something's going to be healed in the letting go, the answer is love. There is no other answer. Okay, let us meditate.